Hello everyone, Cortex here, and I'd like to invite you to pull up a chair, grab a nice warm drink, and tell your Uncle Willie to join you as I review Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon. If you haven't seen them yet, I've also got reviews for Spyro 1 and Spyro 2, and I highly recommend you watch those. Pretty good videos if I do say so myself.
What the fuck?
But this video is all about the third game in the fun, charming little series created and developed by Insomniac Games. If Spyro 1 was the simple yet impressive beginning to something amazing, and the second game improved upon everything and threw in some fun new elements, 3 is the game that took everything, and I mean everything including the kitchen sink, and threw it all together. So, without further ado, let me explain why Spyro 3 is utterly amazing. So, Spyro 3 begins shortly after the events of Spyro 2. Spyro saved the Dragon Kingdom from nasty Nork's assholery, rescued the people of Avalar from Ripto's rage, made some new friends, and enjoyed a relaxing holiday. And now he, Hunter, and the other dragons are enjoying a well-deserved snooze with all the dragon eggs nesting around them. When all of a sudden, Lola Bunny shows up looking real suspicious. Her and her Rhinoc pals start sneaking around and stealing all the dragon eggs, and just as they're about to leave, she accidentally wakes up the dragons by stepping on Hunter's tail. Then they all try to capture her, but she escapes back to Looney Tunes land. She informs her boss, the evil sorceress, that they were unable to successfully steal all the dragon eggs, and the sorceress tells her to guard the holes and make sure no one comes through. Wait, what? I thought this was a kid's game. And another thing, where are all the female dragons at? How were all these eggs laid? Oh shit. Well, Spyro and Hunter make their way to the Forgotten Realms, and upon arrival, Lola Bunny here threatens Spyro.
If I find you here again, I am going to be very angry, and you won't like me when I'm angry.
Okay, calm down, Bruce Banner. After that little encounter, Spyro runs into Moneybags.
Oh, Jesus Christ, this diaper's making my nuts rub together. It's gonna start a fire!
Yeah, always nice to see you too. He cons us out of some gems to free Sheila, one of our new playable characters, but I'll get to that later. This time around, there are 4 homeworlds based on the time of day: Sunrise Spring, Midday Gardens, Evening Lake, and Midnight Mountain. As usual, Spyro makes his way throughout the homeworlds, helping out NPC characters, freeing other playable characters, defeating enemies, beating challenges, fighting bosses, and collecting gems and dragon eggs, which hatch upon collecting, and each baby dragon has their own name. Along the way, Hunter falls in love with Lola. Okay, I'm gonna stop calling her that, her name is Bianca. Essentially, Bianca and the Rhinocs were sent to steal the dragon eggs for the sorceress, under the belief it was to bring magic back to the Forgotten Realms. She was led to believe that with the dragons being a source of magic, the sorceress had banished the dragons a long time ago without realizing that. However, she soon learns the actual reason the sorceress wanted all of the dragon eggs was to take their wings for a spell that would make her immortal. After hearing this, Bianca turns her back on the sorceress and joins Spyro and friends in an effort to stop the evil sorceress and collect all the remaining stolen dragon eggs. Spyro faces off with the evil sorceress and stomps some ass, and the day is saved. However, he couldn't have done it without his new friends. Sheila is a kangaroo and controls as such. She hops around, she can double jump and super jump. Her attacks are limited to kicks and ground bashes, but that's not a bad thing. I really like the way she controls, even if she's the most similar to Spyro in terms of gameplay out of the bunch. However, having said that, I do hate this one mission, and people think the Alchemist escort mission from Spyro 2 is bad. Don't get me wrong, it can be very annoying, but it pales in comparison to how annoying these two are, and especially given the fact that Sheila has to ground bash obstacles out of their way, whereas Spyro could just ram the rock monsters in the Alchemist mission. Yes, he changed his direction all the time, but these two are just on another level of annoying. Anyways, sorry for that detour. To get back on track, Sheila being a kangaroo has an Australian accent and a helpful but take no shit kind of attitude. She's a cool character for sure, and her levels are designed perfectly with her abilities in mind. There are quite a lot of jumps and a lot of hidden high up ledges to jump to collect gems or dragon eggs. This is a really nice way to cater to a new playable character, and this applies to the rest of the new playable characters also. Sgt Byrd is my favourite new playable character. He can fly around despite being a penguin, and although his flight is nowhere near the speed of Spyro's flight, this allows you to take your time and explore his levels. He can fire rockets at enemies and pick up and drop items. These can be either mission items like tiki idol heads and weights, or bombs to drop on enemies and gem containers. Sgt Byrd is fun to control, his flight working almost like a 3D Flappy Bird, but don't worry, where Flappy Bird is infuriating and pointless, Sgt Byrd's movement has a delay in descending, meaning if you want to lose some altitude, you're not just gonna plummet to the ground below. Also, talk about a cool character, man. A British military penguin who's confident as hell, disciplined, strategic and focused. He's a real James Bond type dude, and the fact that he's a penguin just makes it amazing. Okay, so where do I begin with Bentley? Or where did Insomniac go wrong with this character? I despise everything about this character. He's slow, he can't jump worth shit, his levels are boring and take forever, his attacks are so hit and miss, and his little brother is just as annoying. Where Sgt Byrd is a British military spy type of character, Bentley is like a posh cockney type dude, and so is his little brother. And no offense to anyone out there like that, but these guys are just insufferable. I'm not joking, I cringe every time I see a Bentley mission coming up, just because they are so boring. How do you manage to take a big cool character like a Yeti and just make him shit to play with? Don't get me wrong, as ambitious as they were by having 6 different playable characters, it was bound to happen that one wouldn't be all that great, but to tip my hat to Insomniac, the rest of the playable characters are all great. Okay, so Agent 9 is probably the most different character to play as between the original game and the reignited version, while the rest all feel close enough with minor improvements. And what I mean is, in the original he feels very stiff to control, his first person mode is nothing to write home about, and he's just alright. He's not bad, but not very good either. Whereas in the reignited version, he feels very fluid and smooth to control. It's a huge improvement, and the first person mode controls like an actual first person shooter, which is very nice indeed. I've heard many fans describe Agent 9 as an early concept of Ratchet from Ratchet & Clank, and I'd have to agree. It's almost as though Insomniac were testing different playable character styles to see which one could be adopted best. I'm not sure if that's the case, but it's interesting to say the least. Agent 9 is full of energy, he's very hyperactive and trigger happy, and he hates the Rhinox like they owe him money. But despite all this, he's a very capable and skilled character, even if he does come off as though he's been rolling around in cascading white powder, if you catch my drift. Okay, so the last new playable character is an old friend of ours, Sparx. Sparx levels are basically a cool reskin of Space Invader. They're light, fun, and offer up a quick break from the usual levels. There isn't a whole bunch to say honestly. Sparx can kill enemies of varying degrees of health and strength, and he can collect gems, keys, and power-ups during the levels. But not only that, he can collect power-ups that are instantly activated throughout the regular gameplay. For instance, he can collect gems from a further distance, and this just makes watching him collect gems all the more satisfying. First up, we've got Buzz, a big green lizard type dude, and the aim of the game here is to dodge his attacks and ram him into the lake of lava surrounding the arena. Once we do that, Sheila will jump in and bounce on his head. We do this several times as his attacks become more intense and he'll start charging at us too, but all in all, he's not a very tough boss. Next up, we've got Spike, and he is definitely trickier than Buzz. He'll shoot us while Sgt Byrd drops us different ammunition types to use against him. Essentially, it's a matter of using ammo against him before he gets to it, while dodging his attacks and the flames that shoot out of the ground around us. Moving on, the next boss is Scorch. He'll rain hellfire on the arena and shoot out eggs that hatch different enemy types, while Bentley throws us rockets to shoot at him. Honestly, he's really not all that difficult. He can be tricky at times, but he's not too hard to beat. And finally, there's the evil sorceress herself, and the idea here is to avoid all her various attacks while she runs around the arena until Agent 9 supplies us with different turrets. We use these turrets against her, and she's definitely the trickiest boss of the bunch, but I still prefer Ripto and the boys over this gang. Ultimately, when all is said and done, Hunter and Bianca get hitched, and the dragons celebrate the year of the dragon with all the hatched baby dragons returned safely. Spyro 3 is a brilliant conclusion to the original trilogy, bursting with creativity, charm, and polished gameplay. The addition of new playable characters, expansive levels, and vibrant worlds makes it a rewarding platforming experience. While I personally prefer Spyro 2 for its tighter structure and more focused progression, Year of the Dragon still delivers an unforgettable adventure that captures everything fans love about the series and then some. It's a must-play for any platformer enthusiast and a worthy celebration of Spyro's golden era. And again, Stuart Copeland delivers another brilliant soundtrack. While I still would prefer Spyro 1 and 2 soundtrack, the composition in Spyro 3 is perfect in its own way. And as always, you can enjoy either version of this game, original or reignited. Overall, I'd recommend you play the reignited version of the original trilogy, but as stated before, you simply cannot go wrong with the original games. Plus, it's a bonus that they hold stronger character humor and charm that just is missing from the reignited version. However, the reignited versions of these games are just absolutely beautiful, and I'd argue they feel tighter when it comes to controls, but only just. And well, that's all from me. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for a free old man and a free Sgt Byrd. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Now, I'm off to play with the Professor's orbs.